A Seattle Storm owner is accused of confronting a teenage fan over a pro-Sophie Cunningham sign, leaving the girl visibly upset. The incident quickly spread across social media, sparking widespread debate. As more details emerged, the controversy grew, raising bigger questions about fan treatment and the WNBA's handling of high-profile incidents.
And then she told us that we were effing insane.
And she's like, and she went like insane.
Yeah.
She's like, you better stop this
and stop pulling
shit.
this. Yeah.
And
for you guys
I
to
hope
come
God
here
can
and
save
pull
you.
this. Yeah.
She said for you to come here and pull this shit.
Yeah.
Did she say the word?
Yeah.
Did she say effing insane or the fucking
No,
insane?
she said the word. Yeah.
And nobody around you spoke up for you.
No.
So I will say honestly, when I came over, you were in tears.
Yeah, I've never been yelled at like that. I mean, I've had people hate on me on the internet, but like it doesn't really affect me as much because it's just people online. But that just took me by surprise because I thought she was gonna be nice, and then she started spiking.
A teenage girl attended a WNBA game carrying a sign thanking Sophie Cunningham for speaking up for girls in sports. According to eyewitness accounts, a Seattle Storm co-owner approached her during the game and asked her to put the sign away. The situation reportedly escalated, leaving the girl visibly upset and prompting security to get involved. The incident quickly sparked debate online, with many questioning whether a team executive should confront a young fan over a sign at a basketball game.
In that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I'll always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Do you think, I guess on one line like that, it goes against perhaps, some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us. Like, how do you, I guess, view that sort of critique?
You know, like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone.
Weeks ago, Sophie Cunningham addressed the topic of women's sports during an ESPN interview. She said she supports protecting opportunities for girls and women in sports and reaffirmed that she stands by her views despite the strong public reactions they have generated.
The left is completely intolerant and the actual hateful ones. This woman is not an owner of a basketball team. She's an owner of a left-wing, radical, political activist group that happens to play basketball. Because this team has endorsed Kamala Harris for president. They have promoted trans rights on their website and their merchandise. And clearly they hold a double standard and allow people to hold signs like this, but belittle young girls that support their sports remaining female. I don't expect them to do this, but I would really like to see the WNBA protect and stand up for fans just like these two young girls from hate and intolerance.
Her response wasn't directed at any individual or teammate. She simply answered the question calmly and explained her position. Even so, once her comments spread online, they quickly became part of a much larger and more polarizing debate across the sports world.
You know, I think it has been so fun. I played with BG for 6 years, and so I know her like the back of my hand, and as of late, she's been playing really good. She's been playing like OG Brittney. I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women, and I think that there are rights that need to be protected, and like I said, I'm gonna stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone.
Many fans quickly connected Sophie Cunningham's comments to the ongoing discussions surrounding the WNBA. Cunningham has also become known as one of Caitlin Clark's strongest supporters on the Indiana Fever, especially after several physical and closely watched matchups involving Clark and the Connecticut Sun. Because of that context, her remarks sparked even more debate online, with supporters and critics offering very different interpretations of what she meant and why she chose to speak out.
Fans at the game booed Cunningham when she checked into the game. One Seattle Storm player even showed up pre-game wearing a shirt that read, "Trans rights are human rights." After the game, Storm coach Sonia Rahman was asked about the situation.
Seattle and this organization and Climate Pledge, like, we always want to be an area where people feel welcome coming into this building. I think we've always done a really good job with that. So I know our organization was, working closely with Climate Pledge and with security to just make sure that, everybody feels safe and included and welcome when they walk in this door. And from what I understand, that
Brittney Griner never publicly said Cunningham's comments were directed at her. In a separate interview, she simply described playing against Cunningham as annoying. After Cunningham's remarks spread online, however, the reaction across social media and the basketball world was immediate and intense.
Of Sophie Cunningham, a female athlete herself, very accomplished in her own right, coming forth and speaking that truth that men shouldn't play in women's sports. We want to protect women and girls, and the backlash she is receiving from Democrats and left-wing figures across the country is astonishing.
Within 48 hours, Cunningham's comments had become a national story. Major media outlets covered the debate, and public figures also weighed in, pushing the discussion far beyond basketball. What began as one interview answer quickly turned into a nationwide conversation, drawing attention from supporters and critics alike.
Can't applaud her enough. This notion that you're hating on the trans community because you are not a proponent of them participating in female sports is utterly ridiculous. Sophie Cunningham said every word right on the money. There's no hate involved. There's only love we're talking about. But what happened to loving girls who are born biologically as girls? What about their rights? What about fairness associated to them? Leah Thomas, I'm gonna keep bringing that name up. 400th plus in the world competing as a male. Transitions to female, and he was #1. If we're gonna act like transitioning from male to female doesn't involve an advantage for that trans athlete, I have nothing to say to you. You're not exercising.
What happened next drew even more attention. When reporters revisited the topic days later, many expected Sophie Cunningham to soften or clarify her comments. Instead, she largely stood by what she had already said. She also emphasized that she doesn't hate anyone and believes everyone deserves respect, while maintaining her views on the issue. That response reinforced the perception among supporters that she was standing by her convictions rather than changing her position because of public pressure.
Last week and talks about her beliefs, which I do think is very rare, especially being as young as she is, and quite honestly being brave to share something she knows is going to get picked apart a million times, and then standing by it. That's refreshing, especially from a young woman.
That brings us to Seattle, where the story moved beyond social media and into a real-life incident. Before the Indiana Fever faced the Seattle Storm, a small group of supporters gathered outside Climate Pledge Arena. Some were there to support Sophie Cunningham, while others promoted a Washington ballot measure related to girls' sports. Several carried signs or wore shirts reflecting their views. According to reports, the demonstration wasn't directed at any specific Storm player, but focused on the broader debate that followed Cunningham's public comments and the larger discussion surrounding policies in women's sports. According to reports, 2 fans seated courtside displayed a sign thanking Sophie Cunningham for speaking up for girls. Journalist Brandy Cruz later reported that the fans said they were confronted by a woman they identified as Seattle Storm minority owner Celeste Keaton. They also claimed security became involved, and one of the teenagers said the incident left her visibly upset.
Signs that said we love Sophie, thank you Sophie for speaking up. And so we were holding on, just watching the game. Again, we were being super great. We hadn't said anything to anyone else. We were being super respectful. We were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this lady, older lady, comes up to us. And she comes up to us, and at first I think she's gonna be nice. And then she asks, what are you guys doing? Something like that. And then it was Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us. And I was like, oh, I know. I'm religious. I know. I know. Nice. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done. And something like that. And then she told us that we were effing insane.
And she's and she went insane.
Yeah.
She's like, you better stop this.
And stop pulling this. Yeah.
The incident sparked questions about how different viewpoints were handled. While people outside the arena expressed a range of opinions without reported intervention, critics argued that a teenage fan holding a sign supporting a visiting player should have been allowed to do the same. That contrast became a major focus of the public debate.
We are winning our wheel. I had this crazy idea on Thursday that I wanted to support Sophie. We've gone all around California supporting female athletes, and I just said, we can go to Seattle and we can support female athletes. And Brandy was right there, ready to help us. And thank you all for showing up. We just have simple belief that women are adult human females, and women deserve their own female-only sports and spaces, especially prisons and domestic violence shelters.
Yes.
We are 108.
The incident raised broader questions about how different viewpoints are treated at sporting events. Many fans argued that the sign itself was respectful and simply expressed support for Sophie Cunningham, while others focused on the confrontation rather than the message. Following the backlash, Storm majority owner Jenny Gilder released a statement acknowledging that a co-owner had interacted with 2 fans and apologizing, saying everyone should feel welcome at Storm games. However, the statement left many questions unanswered. It did not identify the co-owner by name, provide details about what happened, or explain whether any additional action would be taken. As a result, the response drew mixed reactions, with some viewing it as appropriate and others believing it lacked transparency.
I apologize for the way I look. I literally just left CrossFit, don't have any recording material here, but breaking news, Storm co-owner Celeste Keaton was fined and suspended from attending the next 5 home games of the Seattle Storm following the incident with Fever fans last night, in which she made a comment about one of their players' supporters. That came directly from the league. So that's the latest on this developing story. So there it is.
At the center of this controversy is a debate about free expression and how fans should be treated at sporting events. Many believe no fan should feel intimidated over a sign or shirt expressing a viewpoint, regardless of the message. The incident has fueled ongoing discussions about consistency, fairness, and the atmosphere surrounding public debate in the WNBA.
Sophie Cunningham, who's willing to stand 10 toes down. And Sophie Cunningham was quoted as saying, I want to protect young girls in a locker room or young girls in sports who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Megan Rapinoe's such a fucking bird. Like, she's such a fucking bird. Biological men should not be playing in sports with biological men, period. End of discussion. It shouldn't be controversial. It shouldn't be a cause for debate. It shouldn't be labeled transphobia because you don't want to have to compete with people who were born biological men and have biological advantages that women will never have and never be able to have for the rest of their life. I always ask the question, why do we never see, like, biological women transitioning to be men and playing in men's sports? Why don't we ever see that? Why is it always biological men transitioning to women and coming over to play with women?
The incident also comes amid broader conversations across the WNBA about players speaking on controversial issues. Some fans have pointed to other recent situations involving player comments and team decisions, fueling speculation online. However, no official evidence has established a direct connection between those events and any changes in playing time or team roles.
People live. Nobody has a problem with trans people and what they do on their own time. It's just in regards to what Sophie said, is when it comes to sports. Women, biological women should play sports against biological women. Men should play against men. Because the simple reason for it is because scientifically, just men are stronger, faster, bigger.
The Seattle incident has reignited debate about how the WNBA handles differing viewpoints. Supporters of Sophie Cunningham argue that she simply expressed her opinion respectfully and has consistently stood by it despite criticism. Others strongly disagree with her position, highlighting how divisive the issue has become. As a result, questions continue to be raised about how players, fans, and organizations respond to controversial topics. Cunningham has made it clear that she is not backing away from her views, even under public scrutiny. Meanwhile, attention has shifted beyond her comments to the league itself, with many fans watching closely to see how future situations involving players, teams, and supporters will be handled moving forward.